Democrat Tim Ryan continued his hot streak in debating JD Vance. This is over a Senate seat in the state of Ohio. And JD Vance really struggled to honestly deny who he really is, deny the issues he campaigned on, and even basically make sure that he divides himself or separates himself from some of the more nefarious figures in the right wing. Now, while he has a record of supporting and publicly stating that he is totally defending the worst, most nefarious figures in the right, he doesn't want that to come out on the debate stage. So get a load of this wonderful moment during the debate.
We are running for the United States Senate. This is the highest office you could get in this country except for president. And he's running around backing these extremists, the most extreme people in the country, a guy who denied Sandy Hook. He's like, he's credible.
Thank you, Congressman.
I mean, you don't have to, it's
we can talk about, how I got in hot water with saying that Alex Jones was a more credible source of information than Rachel Maddow. But like one of the things that I saw in the reaction to that tweet was people are terrified of unconventional people, of people who don't think the thoughts that they're supposed to think. And that to me is like the opposite of what you would want in an elite. You would want an elite that's willing to think outside the box, that's willing to say, well, maybe this is like a crazy idea, but maybe it's true.
Tape, brother. You're on tape, man.
I never said that, Tim. Go and run the tape and find out exactly what I said.
It'll be like 30 minutes and we're all gonna know you're lying.
I never said that.
Now, Midas Touch had that video up and ready to go within 30 minutes. So Tim Ryan's prediction was actually pretty incredible. But look, the point here isn't just that JD Vance is willing to defend Alex Jones as a credible news source, which is insane on its own, of course. It's the fact that he has absolutely no problem saying one thing when he is out there campaigning and then saying something completely different once he's on that debate stage. It is incredible to see how much more measured Republican candidates tend to be when they're on the debate stage, because they don't want to own the lunacy that they've either defended or engaged in. And that's the reason why I wanted to point that out to you in regard to JD Vance. I mean, he's a guy who went from calling Trump Hitler to all of a sudden getting on his knees and showing Donald Trump how much he loves him just because he wanted Trump's endorsement. This is a person who has no integrity or principles, and we've got a ton of that in Congress already. We really don't need more of it.
Yeah, and we're about to see more of his hypocrisy in a second. But I just want to say one thing to be clear. So Tim Ryan these days has some opinions that are more conservative than mine, for example. But there's two different things. There's policy and then there's politics. And I think the Democratic leadership has been doing both wrong. So on the policy, they'll go conservative, and on the politics, they'll go soft. So they say, you just kiss Republican ass and hope that that their voters vote for us instead of them. It makes no sense. It's never made any sense. It's the world's worst strategy. They've lost 1 million races doing that, et cetera. Now, but that's different from policy, right? So Tim and I probably agree on a lot of policy, but we probably disagree on a healthy chunk of policy. But we now agree on politics. He's now left the Democratic establishment when it comes to political strategy. The political strategy of most Democratic establishment is lie down on the floor and let the Republicans walk all over you like a good mat, and that's brilliant strategy. Tim is now saying, along with Fetterman and a couple others, no, that is not good strategy. Good strategy is punching the other guy in the face and playing hardball and making sure that people understand you're the candidate to vote for and the other party sucks and they definitely should not vote for them. Hey, we got 1 out of 2, all right? So we've got at least a guy who understands politics, even if we disagree with him on some policies.
Yeah, I think that distinction is so incredibly important because oftentimes, like in this case where we're applauding Tim Ryan, it's specifically in regard to his handling of this debate. It doesn't mean that he's a perfect candidate, doesn't mean we agree with him 100% on everything he endorses and promotes. But in terms of the way he handled this debate and the fact that he did deviate from the typical putting soft Democrat tendencies is a good sign, and I'd like to see more of that. Now, Cenk, I actually saved the best for last, and I say best for last because this is specifically almost like verbatim what you've wanted Democrats to say on the debate stage. And here it is.
You have to have the courage to take on your own leaders. These leaders in DC they will eat you up like a chew toy, right? I mean, you were calling Trump America's Hitler. Then you kissed his ass.
That's not true.
It is true. And then you kissed his ass, and then he endorsed you. And you said he's the greatest president of all time. Mitch McConnell gave you $40 million to prop up your campaign. Peter Thiel gave you $15 million. That's $55 million, JD. What do you think they want for that? They want your loyalty. And you proved that you'll kiss their ass too.
All I'm gonna say is, that was good. But you take it away, because this is your issue, Cenk.
So there's two things that were wonderful there. One is super aggressive and correct. So why, that wasn't that hard, right? The Republicans give you these softballs all the time. Did he call Trump America's Hitler? Yes. He wrote in a text to a friend, which was then outed, that Trump back in 2016 was either a cynical a-hole like Richard Nixon or America's Hitler. And then did Trump say, hey, here's JD kissing my ass at JD Vance's own rally? Yes, definitely. Did JD Vance then go on stage like a cuck and go, oh, okay, thank you so much, Mr. President? Yes, definitely. So why don't you hit him with it? We've said 1,000 times on this show, and finally a Democrat did it. They did the thing that is so obvious that you should do in politics. So thank you, Tim Ryan. And then of course, the issue itself, money in politics. My God, how many times have I said and screamed on this show, why don't you just talk about the money they're taking? People hate corruption. And when you say Peter Thiel gave him $15 million, everybody knows that he works for Peter Thiel. And when McConnell gives him $40 million, you know that he's gonna vote with McConnell. These things are obvious. And finally, a Democrat cleared the lowest bar. They're like, oh yeah, corruption, the #1 issue in politics all across the world. I'll use it. There, he did it, right? So is that gonna work? Of course it's gonna work. And by the way, it's already working. Tim Ryan was supposed to lose the selection by 9 or 10. Now they're neck and neck. You see, be tough, argue against corruption. Now look, the only Achilles heel he has is, it's true that Tim Ryan's voted with Nancy Pelosi nearly 100% of the time. And that's the point that JD Vance was saying. Now, when we told Democrats, you don't have to vote with Democratic leadership 100% of the time, they're like, no, it is the biggest offense in Washington to vote against Nancy Pelosi. And all the mainstream media agree, oh, don't you dare do it. Bow your head, they told every Democrat. Now it's being used against them. Oh, who was right about politics? Put aside policy. Who was right about politics? We were right about politics. He should have never voted with her 100%. And most importantly, the progressives shouldn't vote with her 100%. They shouldn't come close to that number, right? And does he take money from Pelosi? And does he take money from other contributors? Yeah, he does, Tim Ryan does. But as a matter of politics, if JD Vance didn't say it, well then he's an idiot. People don't know, right? But Tim Ryan did say it about JD Vance, so now everybody thinks JD Vance is corrupt. That's correct politics.